Hi, I'm Brittany and welcome to my channel. In this video today we'll be painting these loose floral watercolor Mother's Day cards. For this first card I'll be using my Canson watercolor paper, and I've cut it to 4.5 by 6.5 inches to fit on a 5x7 card. I created a little template for this card in InDesign, so I'm just going to tape that down here. And I'll grab my graphite paper and put it underneath and trace over this oval and the word mother with a red pen. Alright, so now I'll lift this up and see if it worked. And it looks pretty good, so I can move on to my next step. I'll take my fine line masking fluid. I want to leave the oval white, and so afterwards I'll write in the word mother, and I'll do my painting on the outer area of this card. So I'm just putting this masking fluid on the inner area of this white oval so that my paint doesn't go over and cross this line. Now that I'm done with that, I'll put it to the side and let it dry. For this second watercolor card, I'm going to use all watercolor paper. I don't usually do this so I don't waste paper, but this time I want to have it all white, and this is 5 inches by 7 inches, so the full piece is 10 inches by 7 inches before it's folded. Here's the template I made for this card, and I'll just tape it down so that I can trace it. I'll get my graphite paper again, and then just go over the oval and the word mother. This time I'm going to outline the letters, and I'm going to fill it in with masking fluid so that it will stay white. So now I'll take my fine line masking fluid again, and I'll fill in mother in the outer edges of this oval. Now that I've filled in all the masking fluid, I'm going to set this card aside and let it dry. Now that the masking fluid on this card has dried, I'm ready to start painting. So I've got my pot of water here, and the brushes I'll be using for this painting are my Princeton Neptune brushes in the sizes 8 and size 10. The colors I'll be using are my Opera Rose, English Red, Jaune Brilliant, Olive Green Yellowish, Perylene Green, Winsor Green Blue shade, and then my Payne's Gray, and then I'll also use my Mineral Violet. I did a little practice painting of what I have in mind for these cards. I'm just going to be doing these really loose florals in the color palette that I mentioned. I learned how to paint these loose flowy florals from the artist Stephanie Ryan, so if you want to learn more, definitely check her out. She's the real master at it. I decided I wanted to leave a white border around this card, so I'm just going to use my washi tape and tape off a border. Now I'll just take my spray bottle and wet down my paints and start mixing my puddles. For this coral pink color, I want to take Jaune Brilliant and English Red and make a really watery mixture. For my green, I'm taking Olive Green Yellowish with a lot of water. And then I'll also take my Perylene Green for my darker green, and for darker blue, I'll mix up my Payne's Gray. I'm going to start by picking up this light pink color, and I'm just going to make these simple loose petal shapes and create a flower. While the paint is still wet, I'll pick up my English Red and drop it in the center and let it bleed out into that light pink. With my Olive Green Yellowish, I'll create a stem and start painting some leaves on this flower. I really want to vary the green colors, so while this is still wet, I'll drop in some of my Perylene Green And with just water on my brush, I'm going to come up here to the corner and just let those colors bleed out into the white. When you're painting in this loose, washy style, water is really your friend. So you want to go around and just kind of blend the edges of some leaves. Right here I'm blending the bottom of the stem, and I'm just letting it bleed out to the edge of the card. Now I'll pick up my coral pink color again and paint another flower. After I create this flower, I'll do the same steps as I did and create the leaves, drop in color, and just really loosely fill in this whole card. I want to pick up my mineral violet and drop it in the wet spots over here so I can add some purple to my painting. I'm also going to add it to the center of the flowers here in a really thick mixture. So just like I did before, I'll take a thick mixture of my English red and drop it in the center of this flower and let it bleed around. Those are the basic steps I'm going to follow while I paint this whole painting. You just want to remember to use a lot of water, let the paints blend together. Remember, there aren't any mistakes. You're just going to lay down the paint and let the water and the watercolor work its magic. And I think that will do it for this painting. Now that it's dry, I can take off the washi tape and see what it looks like with the white border. I'll come back to this card and finish the center after I'm done finishing the other painting. First, I'll tape down this card so it doesn't pop open while I'm trying to paint it. For this card, I'm going to paint inside the oval here, And I'll paint my flowers and leaves over the word mother. And once the painting has dried, I'll take off the masking fluid and it will leave the letters in white. So I'll just be using the exact same steps and techniques as I used in the last card. I'll start off with my light pink flowers and pick up a dark mixture of my English red to drip in the middle here. I'll touch the edge of this flower petal with just water, and I'll drop in a really pale purple color. Now I'll move on to my leaves, and again I'm starting with my olive green yellowish. Then I'll pick up my perylene green and paint a leaf over here. And I want to paint straight over this letter E so that the little circles in that letter get filled in. Now I'll just keep moving around this little painting, taking water and blending the edges of some leaves and flowers, dropping in different colors here and there, and also dripping in water, and just get this whole oval filled up. And I think that will do it for this card. Now I'll set this card aside and go back to my first card and finish that one up. Now I'll pick up my rubber eraser thingy to take off this masking fluid. I noticed this masking fluid left behind a pale yellow stain on my paper, so that's a bummer, but it will look alright in the end. Now I'll pick up my Tombow brush pen and I'll trace over the mother writing. Now that the ink is dry, I'll try to erase any of the marks that are still showing. I'll grab my gold palette and I'll trace around the oval using my Emma Lefebvre size 2 brush. Now that this little painting is finished, I'm ready to tape it onto a craft card. Now that the first card is finished, I'll move on to the second card. And I'll start by taking off the masking fluid. I'll take that same gold paint and outline the oval. Now I'm just going to fill in these letters with my gold paint. Looking back on this card, I kind of wish I wouldn't have filled them in all the way. I should have just outlined them and left the center white, but I was worried about the masking fluid leaving behind that creamy color, so I filled them in. So that's all there is to it. Now I have these two cute Mother's Day cards to give to my mom and my mother-in-law. I hope you'll try to paint these cards too. To me, nothing says I love you like a hand-painted card. I hope you enjoyed this video and thanks so much for watching.